Hey guys, this is Lindsay with Garage Gym Reviews, and today we are going to do the Versatility lat pull down low row machine. Now, I've got to start off by saying I actually love Versatility, and my home garage gym is actually becoming like a Versatility showroom. I've got the Hydro Rack, I've got the Hex 3.0 trap bar, I've got an Olympic lifting bar, I've got other odds and ends, I have the weight stacked cable tower, and if I can convince enough people, I am bringing this bad boy home, okay? I actually really like Versatility. Now, they are a company that's been around since 2010. They're a Canadian company, but don't hold that against them, okay? They have a lot of good quality products that are actually pretty affordable and better than some of the cheaper products that are out there right now. Now, this lat pull down low row machine, I think is super comparable to Titans, but we'll just have to see how it stacks up. All right, so before we continue with this, make sure you're subscribed to our channel so you can continue to see all things fitness. That's right, I said all things fitness because we're actually doing a strength-based review today, which is phenomenal. If you want to go ahead and purchase this, use the link below the like button. We've made it super easy. When you use that link, it doesn't cost you anything extra. It just gives us a small commission. And lastly, this was sent to us by the company, but that doesn't change what I'm going to say about it. I will always be honest and transparent. So let's get into the details of this. All right, so this has some minor changes to a typical lat pull down machine. We see the addition of a low row machine. Now, with that addition of a low row machine, you have the ability to do upright rows, you have the ability to do low rows, you have the ability to do bicep curls, and many other things that we're going to talk about along the way. Now, one thing to start is the pulley arm is actually longer than what we typically see. So especially when we compare it to that Titan that I mentioned earlier, with the Titan, you're more forced into a backwards angled position. With the Versatility machine, you actually have a more vertical pull. So depending on what you like, I definitely prefer the more vertical pull. I feel like it engages my lats a little bit more, but that is a little bit of a difference. There's also an additional pulley below that's going to aid in that low row movement or your bicep curls or wherever you decide to do with that. At close to $2,000, I mean, this is a more of an investment, right? This isn't a cheap machine, but when we compare it to others on the market that have similar features, it is in the right ballpark or maybe even a slightly cheaper than some others that we see, and we will mention a couple others that this is cheaper than. It does have a 1-to-1 ratio, which means that 10 pounds feels like a true 10 pounds. 50 pounds feels like a true 50 pounds. That is exactly what you're going to want to feel when you are training these types of movements. Another thing that I want to mention about this is it comes with aluminum pulleys. Aluminum pulleys, the pull on it is super smooth. So if you are looking for a consistent, smooth pull throughout that movement, throughout that workout, I think that aluminum pulleys is the way to go. Now with this weight stack, it actually comes with 310 pounds. I kind of laughed at myself because I feel like Versatility is like throwing their name into the ring a little bit, competing with somebody like Rogue. So for example, with Rogue's lat pull down low row machine, it's costing about $3,000 and the weight stack only goes up to 300 pounds. With the Versatility machine, it costs $2,000, but I feel like they added 10 extra pounds just to kind of wink at Rogue and be like, ha, we added an extra 10 pounds, look at us now. The other thing is, even though it goes in 10-pound increments, it comes with a loadable pin that goes up to 20 pounds. So if you are wanting to go into smaller increments, maybe 2.5 or 5 pounds, whatever it is, it does come with that loadable pin. You can go ahead and change the increments to not just 10 pounds. Now with this Versatility unit, it actually comes with holes along the upright of this that has attachments along with it. Now you do have to pay for those attachments, but all of a sudden this becomes more of a versatile machine, right? You have already the addition of that low row to your lat machine that gives you the ability to do bicep curls, upright rows. Now you can add other attachments on, do dips, things of that nature. Now one thing to call out about this is typically we see a 3x3 upright. This is not the case. This is gonna fit 2x3 attachments. So obviously Versatility has a ton of 2x3 attachments. Just make sure that if you have attachments like that you're using with a Rogue upright, they're not going to transfer over. You have to make sure you have the appropriate attachment size. Now this is a big, heavy piece of machinery. Obviously the weight stack is 310 pounds, but the overall weight of the unit is 512 pounds. So wherever you decide to assemble this is definitely where you're going to want to keep it, because you are not going to want to move this after you've assembled it. Ask us, we know. Okay, so I actually didn't build this. I know that you guys are shocked by that. You probably thought, man, this girl knows what she's talking about. She basically sleeps with a wrench and a hammer. She's just into it and assembling everything. I'm not, okay? But Sam is, and Sam's gonna tell you all about the assembly on this.
All right, let's talk assembly. I have to go quick on this because we all know Lindsay, she likes to talk too much anyways. I could make a whole video on the assembly of this. It was a nightmare, I'll be honest with you. The Titan lat pull down was a better experience than this was. I don't know if we got a bad one. It's hard to say. I'd have to talk to some other people who's built them. But essentially, this whole unit, none of it squared up to begin with. We used 2 or 3 different tie straps where we were literally wrenching the pieces together to try to get them to square up correctly, because you're not just dealing with hole-on-hole action where you're putting a bolt through, but it actually has the welded in essentially nuts on the inside of the uprights. So that said, you have to have everything perfectly squared in order to bolt it together. So that was problem number 1. It was a huge hassle. We tried loosening, tightening, unloosening, and so on and so forth. We finally eventually got it, but it took hours. I mean, literally hours to do. Problem number 2 was that some of the pieces just didn't fit. So we found ourselves buying specialized drill bits and drills to literally drill through the steel to make the holes big enough for the parts to fit through. We were determined to get this thing together. Didn't want to have to deal with another 700-pound crate coming into the building and getting a new one shipped to us. So we got it. It's assembled. It's together. There was no part about it that I can say, hey, this was a great experience, a good experience, or even a poor experience, because it was just simply the worst experience.
All right, so now that we've talked about the assembly on us, let's talk about the overall floor space. This is 71 inches long by 41 inches wide, so definitely takes up a big floor space area. Not only that, but keep in mind as you are using it, especially if you're using the low row function, add like your sitting length, right? So that's another, 30 inches on top of that. So you're definitely gonna have to have the appropriate amount of space when you are using this. This is not something that's gonna fit into a small home gym space, even though I do think there's a lot of versatility that you can gain from this. So in terms of attachments that come with this, you have your standard lat pull down bar, and then you also have a straight bar. There's a ton of different attachments that you can buy from Bells of Steel. You have a single tricep rope, you have a double D handles, you have a tricep rope extension, and so many more attachments that can go along with this. When I was adjusting this, I felt like the knee pads adjusted super easily. I felt like the footing adjusted super easily. It was just basically turning, pulling, locking it back into place. There's no sort of like sticking as I was trying to use it, which I have found with other machines. So overall, I think the adjustability on this is really great. Another thing that I like about this, and something that you do gain from the height on this, is the fact that taller people can use this and hit that full extension during a lat pull down. So a lot of times with lat machines, especially if you're finding more like a budget friendly one, then taller people don't get that full extension. With this machine, because it is that 71 inches high, so many people can use it. My counterpoint to it being super high, I mean, most people have enough ceiling room, but if you are in a basement, this is something to keep in mind. If your ceilings are lower than like the standard 7-foot ceiling, it might be worth really deciding if this is going to be like a functional piece of equipment for you. Now, if you are somebody who likes to rearrange your home gym a lot, I mean, that is basically everybody in the home gym community. Keep in mind, again, this is 528 pounds. You might be better off with like a plate-loaded lat pull-down machine because it's a lot easier to move. You obviously don't have the 310-pound weight stack attached to it. So definitely something to consider if you are somebody who wants to move your machine around from place to place. Now, this isn't the most expensive option. It is pretty comparable to Titan's lat pull down machine. One thing to keep in mind is it does ship in 9 different boxes. So you're gonna have a huge, like Sam said, like 700-pound crate, like full of boxes that you're gonna have to put together yourself. One thing that is a plus though, that Bells of Steel does offer free shipping with all of their products. In terms of warranty, it does have a limited lifetime warranty. Essentially what that means is if you are taking good care of your machine, if you are not like taking a hammer to it and like defecting it yourself, they are going to honor that warranty and replace any parts or materials that are defective. But keep in mind, like it is that limited lifetime warranty. It's not just flat out lifetime warranty. In terms of like the comfort of the lat pull down machine, I think that the vinyl is actually really good. I don't think it's going to tear apart. It doesn't feel cheap. I think that the padding is also really good and really comfortable. I watched so many videos, I read so many reviews regarding this piece of machinery. The overwhelming consensus is this is actually a very comfortable machine to sit in, to use and super smooth and consistent. Overall, I mean, I love this machine. I think that it is versatile. I think that it is comfortable. I think that it is smooth when you are using it. If we didn't have a bad experience, and again, this could just be our experience. That's kind of the risk you take when you are getting a product shipped to you. Our experience was bad. That doesn't necessarily mean yours is going to be bad. You might have a fantastic experience with the assembly and then thoroughly enjoy your machine. I'm not just saying like blank statement, the assembly sucks, because it might not. It might just be our experience. But overall, despite that, I thoroughly enjoy this machine. I kind of want to bring it home to my garage gym. I think that it is versatile. Again, I think it's aesthetically pleasing. All of the good things. If you want to see more content in regards to strength equipment, lat pull down machines, whatever the case may be, let us know in the comments below. This has been Lindsay with Garage Gym Reviews. Peace.